Hello, everybody. My name's Rick McCutcheon. I'm a Dynamics 365 MVP, and I'm here today with Dynamics 365 MVP, Dian Taylor. Dian, say hello and tell the people what you do.
Well, hello. So I work for RSM as director in pre-sales, and I'm an MVP, like you said. I'm trying to think like what else. So basically, I get to do the fun stuff where I get to play around with Dynamics 365, get in the horn with some of our prospects, and then kind of build out a solution that fits their needs. So yeah, fun stuff.
Okay, perfect. Now, everybody's MVP journey is a little bit different, and I think you have a pretty unique MVP journey. Why don't you tell us where you got started and how you became an MVP?
Yeah, so this is probably a little bit strange how my journey happened because I'm actually originally from the Netherlands. I moved here to the US in '04, and I had no background whatsoever with, any type of IT software, any of that. I was a hairdresser for about 10 years. And then I worked in a store for about 5 years. So when I came here, I kind of didn't want to do that anymore. So I had some office positions here. And then at some point in time, about 10 years ago, I started working in Dynamics 365. And this is also, I always felt like you had to be super smart to do anything in IT. And obviously, I thought you had to know how to code and stuff like that. But obviously, that's absolutely not the case, right? I don't know any coding. And yet I can now, work in Dynamics 365. So, yeah, that's basically kind of how I got started in the business. And then Rachel Profit, who currently works at Microsoft, she was an MVP for a while as well. She really kind of helped me become an MVP and kind of start that fire. She was actually an employee at RSM as well. And I presented at a couple of events where she was also presenting, and that's kind of how we became, friends. And well, in the beginning, we weren't friends, obviously, more like coworkers, but we were both kind of interested in the same thing, right? Bringing that message to the community and stuff like that. So I got to talk to her more about it, and she's like, why don't you start writing your own articles and creating your YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff. And again, you always feel like you don't know enough or your content is not good enough, right? Because somebody else already wrote about it, which is absolutely not the case. And this is what Rachel also said, like, your vision on a particular thing, even if somebody else wrote about it, is unique. So go ahead and do it. So I really have almost everything, because of Rachel when it comes to the MVP. She was able to really kind of light that fire and kind of steer me towards the right direction. So yeah, it's been really great.
So that's fantastic. All the way from hairdressing to Dynamics MVP in a decade. I mean,
Crazy, right?
it is. But everybody's journey is different, and you picked up and you found something that you must have been passionate about because you're writing articles and you're creating videos, and that's how you really stood out for me. I see your stuff on LinkedIn all the time, and I'm saying, oh, she's a new MVP. Look at, she's publishing more and more content. So let's talk a little bit about what got you going on content, and why are you doing it? What kind of content are you producing, and what are you doing with it, and where do you want to take this content?
Yeah. So obviously, after having those conversations with Rachel, I kind of got going. But I think it was also a really good fit because I did do implementations for about 5 years before I moved to being a pre-sales consultant. And I mean, I love what I do. Don't get me wrong. I do. I think it's the perfect job. But a thing that I really missed was really being able to, for example, create my own training for my customers that I did the implementations for, and also training the customers, right? So I really missed it. And even though internally I do trainings for, some of the consultants at Dynamics, listen to me, at RSM, I still miss being able to write my own training and then to present that training. So this was a perfect fit, right? I can write my articles, and then I'm using that article actually as a script for my YouTube videos. And I can also use that to then put some presentations together and do those in-person presentations. So it really kind of plug that hole that I had, right, from the previous position that I had.
And I think you're realizing that this is elevating your brand, getting out there. People want to talk to you, find out who you are, why you're
Yeah.
doing this, And what I like about it is, we've got new field service stuff, or we've got new customer service stuff. And I know you're going to create some content on it. And I wait for that to share that in my groups, right? Because I think your content's high quality. And, I think people expect to see it and hear it. So I've got to thank you for being consistent and doing this all the time. I think that makes the big difference.
Well, I appreciate that a lot. It's kind of funny because one of the other MVPs, like Sean Tabor, we're constantly texting each other, and he goes like, "I was going to write an article about it, and you just beat me to it." We're just teasing each other and stuff like that. But I do try to, really kind of keep my eye on what's coming out and what's going to be in preview next week. And obviously now being an MVP, I have some resources that you have access to as well, Rick. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. But that really kind of, like you said, kind of specializes your brand in a particular area, which is really what I'm trying to do. I want to give people that, hey, this is new. Are you interested in this? Then read this article. And then I know that, we have some information on the doc side as well, but it's usually not, really step by step going through, like, this is how it works. And then I also try to usually put in my own 2 cents, like, what? Okay, here's my opinion about this. Maybe, we could change some of these things or add some functionality later on, but this is what I found. Oh, and by the way, this is not really working the way it should. But again, it's in preview, right? So I really recommend people, also customers that are reading and viewing my videos, go in there, try it out, and let Microsoft know, because that's how we make the product better, right? So
absolutely. Now, what in the business applications world, what do you get excited about? What do you see, that you can show customers now, or that's sort of coming out in the near future that say, this is kind of a big step forward for what we can deliver?
I honestly think that Microsoft, and this is going to be so lame, such a lame answer, but it's true. I think Microsoft is doing such an amazing job with all of the integrations with their, some of their other products that they have. So for example, the Teams integration inside of Dynamics, I am so excited about that. I know a lot of our customers and prospects are constantly asking about that when that's coming, but I believe the preview is somewhere in July or something. Power Platform, I think, is amazing. The things you can do with, for example, Power Automate, where I actually wrote an article where I had this approval process that I'm starting from an opportunity. Then it actually goes into Exchange. It queries for this distribution list, or I should say Office 365 group, gets the members, sends them an approval. The approval then shows up in Teams. They approve it, put comments in there, and that data is actually updated in a custom table that I created to track those approvals, because I don't need all the data that we already have in the Dataverse. So, that type of stuff, oh my goodness, it's so cool, right? To kind of work with that.
And what really excites me is a small business can build all this. They have all those tools to be able to do it, the same as an enterprise business.
You're absolutely right.
There's no more competitive advantage with a big conglomerate than if I have, my 10-person company.
Right. Which you had before, right? And it's kind of funny that you said that, because as soon as CRM, or dynamic CRM as it was called back in the day, as soon as they went online, this is how we sold it, right? You can now do this as well. You don't have to be this large company, like you said, with, 1 million people working for your organization. Anybody can do this now. Anybody has access to this, which is great. You don't need to buy, all these servers, all these on-prem servers, because you can just get it in the cloud, which I agree is amazing. Yeah.
Okay, Dian, thanks for the time today to tell us a little bit about your journey and your content. And we'll be checking in again soon to find out sort of what is new in your world.